So you're thinking of building or buying a new construction home here in Eagle, Idaho. And this is a wonderful idea, but you're not alone in this. New construction is booming right now in Eagle, Idaho, and it can be very difficult to navigate how does one actually go about building or buying a new construction home. Most don't even know the steps in a new construction process because it's very different than existing construction. So in this episode of Living Life in Eagle, Idaho, we're diving into all the steps in a new construction real estate transaction as a buyer. Plus, I'm going to break down 5 questions to ask your builder, plus 5 advantages of buying a new construction home. I'm Matthew, and I post 2 new videos weekly on Eagle, Idaho area to help you learn more about Eagle, Idaho, and if it's a good fit for you. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 9 months, please reach out by text, email, Zoom, or call for that smooth move to Eagle, Idaho. A pre-step is to have an idea of what you want in a home. Bedroom count, bathroom count, lot size, and I'm just gonna assume that you already have a lender and a realtor lined up and not talk about how to find those in this video. So none of these numbers, such as the bedroom count or bathroom count, have to be finalized right now. It is just good to have a rough idea of what you want, because it can help us guide us through this whole process. And if you do use a real estate agent, please find one that knows new construction, as it's a very different transaction than buying a pre-existing built home. So the first step is to determine your timeline, as new construction takes time, as you need time to build your house. If you're in a hurry to move to Eagle, Idaho, but you still want a new construction house, I highly suggest going spec home because they are usually already built, if not 2 to 3 months out. And it really does help to have that timeline in place, because depending on your timeline, it might persuade you to go full custom, semi-custom, or spec. So now let's break down the timelines of how long it takes on average to build each of these. So for full custom, it is 15 to 24 months. Semi-custom builds are between 5 to 14 months depending on when you purchase the home. And spec homes are usually built already so you can move in tomorrow, or they're done within 3 months usually. So if you are in a hurry to move here due to job relocation or your house is already sold where you live, the spec homes might be the way to go. And spec homes here for new construction are actually the most popular type of new construction. So if you are selling a house before you do move here, I highly recommend both your listing agent where you're moving from and your new agent here communicate with each other to make sure it's as smooth as possible for you. Because your real estate agents are supposed to take all the pressure off of you and just let you sit back and relax. So let them talk about the details and figure it out for you. So now that you have an idea of your timeline, the next step is to decide if you want to go spec build, semi-custom, or full custom. Timeline and budget usually plays the biggest role in determining which one you will do. At this point, you really just need to decide if you want to go full custom, as it has very different steps and looks very different than buying a spec home or semi-custom. And one of the longest parts about going full custom is finding a lot that you will like in your price range with a builder that you want to work with. I've seen this process take as little as 4 months and as long as 2 years. So just note, if you do go full custom, start looking for that lot pronto. So now you have your timeline figured out, you have a really good idea if you're going to go full custom or you're going to buy semi or spec. Now let's get into step 3. But before we do, if you could please be sure to hit that like button down below so we can beat the YouTube algorithm. It really does help my channel a lot. But before we get into step 3, let's talk about the differences between a semi-custom and a spec home, because there are quite a few differences with them. So semi-custom is when the builder has set floor plans that you get to choose from, but you cannot modify the layout. However, you get to choose your finishes and flooring from the cabinets and everything in the house. So let's use Riverstone as the example here. If you purchase a lot in Riverstone by Core Building, you would have access to their floor plans. They would tell you what floor plans would fit on that lot, and then you get to pick that floor plan without modifying it at all, and then you would pick out the finishes in your house. Going semi-custom is wonderful if you want to pick out what's in your house, but you don't want the whole challenge of designing every little nook and cranny of your house, how big the rooms need to be. You can just come in and pick the floor plan that they've already designed and then build from there. And this is also going to be really popular in Legacy and TerraView. So most of the time when you go semi-custom, builders will have a design studio that you get to walk into. You actually get to see your finishes, see your options, and then from there you pick everything that you want and then they build your house. So this is why semi-custom homes take a lot longer than spec homes. So spec houses, everything is done for you. The builder will pick out all the colors and all the finishes and the floor plan. You walk in and just buy that new construction house. So with spec homes, this is usually when you can find the best deals on new construction because the builder really needs to move that house off the books and will offer some crazy incentives to move that house. Okay, so now let's get back into the steps. So step 3 is to start going to open houses, model homes, and driving through the neighborhood. And this is probably the most important step in the whole process, as I am sure you're also learning that there's a ton of great options for new construction here in Eagle, Idaho. And most think they want Eagle, Idaho, but then they visit here and they learn about Star, Meridian, and Boise, and all of a sudden they're looking in all of those areas as well. So take your time on this, don't rush it. If you're moving from out of state, please come visit or talk to your realtor if you're using one and have them help you narrow down a list of neighborhoods when you can come and visit. Have them create a schedule so you can hit all the model homes and open houses in one day, and just take your time. Model houses are going to be key in this as it will showcase the builder's style. Maybe you like their style, maybe you don't like their style. I've had primary clients who are buying a spec home who chose that neighborhood solely based off how the house felt to them. And when you go to these model homes, I'm sure you'll notice that some builders are really, really good, and some builders, well, you just want to make sure you do a home inspection if you do buy their house, because they tend not to build the best homes. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video as well, because I am going to go over 6 questions to ask your builder so you can get all the information that you need to know. And I'll also go over those 5 advantages of buying a new construction home. So now let's recap where we're at. So you have a timeline of what you want. You've decided on if you want to go semi-custom, spec, or full custom, and you're visiting open houses and model homes to get an idea of the builders you like, you don't like, and all the neighborhoods. So here's a few things to keep track of when you're visiting these open houses and model homes. First, who the builder is. Each builder, like I said, has a very different style and feel to them. Some build high-end custom homes, but leave the finishes rather cheap. Some people love this because you get more bang for your buck in the house, but some really want those higher-end finishes, so you need to go with a different builder. So my suggestion is when you're going to all these model houses and open houses, to take a lot of photos and write a lot of notes, because I promise all these homes will start to blend together and it'll get very confusing on what home had this, what home had this. And if you are going full custom, then you really need to go to a lot of these and take a lot of photos of fixtures, the layout, the design, because you get to choose everything in your house. And if you have found a neighborhood that you really like, or you're trying to narrow it down, I suggest just walking through the neighborhoods in the evening and learning where the closest grocery stores is and things that you would use daily to weekly to make sure you like the drive there. All we're trying to do at this point is narrow down what neighborhoods are the best fit for you that have your builder or your spec homes in them. All this is process of elimination to get down to the 2 to 3 that you absolutely love. And if you are building a spec home, you really need to focus on neighborhood and who the builder is, because it will play a massive role in home appreciation and if you can resell that house. Another thing to note is no matter what type of new construction you are building, are you buying at the beginning of the development, the middle of the development, or the end of the development phases? This can matter a whole lot depending on your situation for resale. So now let's get into a breakdown of how new construction works here in Eagle, Idaho. So within a development, the developer will sell off lots to builders who then decide if those builders want to hold them for full custom lots or to build a spec home on them. So here's a kicker with this, is when you purchase one of these lots, you have to use a builder who owns it. And we've run into some problems with this as my primary clients love a specific lot, but don't like the builder who owns it. And sadly, there's nothing we can do about this. And that same development, the developer will also sell off lots to you where you can bring your own builder and do whatever you want to do. These lots usually are their premium lots and cost the most as they're holding them to do full custom homes. And this is where it can be very difficult to navigate who owns what lot. Will it be a spec build? Will it be a full custom build? What in the world is going on in this development? And Zillow doesn't show you any of this. And Zillow also only shows you about 40% of all the new construction options here in Eagle, Idaho anyways. The other way new construction works here is builders like CBH Homes, using them as an example here. They build new construction neighborhoods where they're all spec homes. There's no options for semi-custom or full custom, it's just spec builds. Toll Brothers also does a lot of the communities here as well. And again, this is usually where you can find the best deals is in these types of neighborhoods. So let's get back though to the next steps in a new construction transaction. At this point, you have an idea of what type of construction you're gonna go with, you know where you're gonna build it, you have your timeline figured out, and you probably narrow it down to the last 2, maybe 3 builders that you want to build with, and maybe even the neighborhoods. Now it's time to meet face to face with the builders that you're thinking of going with, or set up those official tours of the community. Your agent can set up these meetings, or you can just call and ask the builder themselves, and this should help you narrow it down to choose the final builder you want to use or the community you want to live in. So once you're under contract on your wonderful new house, the next step up that you really need to know about in the whole process is the blue tape inspection. Most builders should do a blue tape inspection, and I actually haven't run into one that does it, but I'm sure we'll run into it one day. So a blue tape inspection is when you go into the home with the blue painter's tape and you put tape next to all the little paint dings, all the misalignments on cabinets, if the windows aren't sliding correctly, any little defect in the house, you blue tape and the builder will fix it for you. And this takes a lot of time to go through because you want to go through every inch of that home. You got to look up, you got to look down, you got to look under things, behind doors, and do not feel bad about taping 15 things in one room. It is the point of blue tape inspection. I am here to answer any questions that you have about new construction or the Eagle, Idaho area. So feel free to book a call or put your questions in the comment section below. I really hope that gave you an overview of what it's like to go through and find or build a new construction house here in Eagle, Idaho. And now I want to go over the 6 questions to ask your builder so you can get the information that you need. So the first question is my price locked in when we start building, or can it go up to inflation as the build goes on? This is a very, very important question, as if your starting price is say 1.1 million, you don't want by the time they get done with the build to be like, oh, it turned out to be 1.3 million. Happens a lot. Make sure your price is locked in before you build, or you know that it's not. The next question to ask your builder is, are you personally on the job site overseeing my build, or do you hire some contractors and a general contractor to oversee the work and do all the work? There are builders here that own the company, you meet with them, and yet they step foot on your job site maybe twice. It's just good to know how they run their company. So the next question is, what is your specific build time for what I am doing? You might think it could be 10 months. You talk to the builder, they're like, oh, we're actually really far behind. We're at 20 months. You just want to know what the timeline is and how hard those timeline dates are. Some builders are very, very specific on their dates and do not miss them. Others, it's more of a suggestion of when they should build the house by. So the next question is, how do your pricing upgrades work? Do you price them as I go, or do you price them all in the beginning? Is it a rolling price, or is it when I walk in and pick a fixture, that fixture has a price of say $50 on it? Or do I have no idea and you have to go to the back room and add up everything and then send me the bill 3 months until I'm in the build? Again, the biggest mistake I see with new builds is people actually don't know their price when they start building. And this is really, really good to know because I've seen builds jump up as high as 500,000 to $1 million over the course of a build, and they just didn't have the money to do that. So therefore they lost all of the deposits and money they have. So the next question to ask is, what warranties do I receive with my home? It's a huge pro, which I'll talk about right after this, of buying new construction, is the warranties they come with. So the next question, and another really important question, is what deposits does your specific builder that you chose require? I've seen some builders require 20% down non-refundable to start the build. I've seen some do as little as $5,000. This will vastly differ from what neighborhood you choose. Are you doing specs, semi, or full custom? But again, it's just good to know how many deposits and the amount they are required. And now for the last section of this video, we're going to talk about the 5 advantages of buying a new construction home. I have a full video on this, so I'm really going to keep this so short, or do my best. So the first question to ask is, what warranties come with my home? Each builder has very different warranties, and you should also ask, what is the process to get something fixed if something breaks? So that one was kind of a pro plus another tip for you. Another huge pro of new construction is most likely we can get a lower interest rate than on the current market, especially for spec builds. The next pro is the instant appreciation you can get when you build a home. For me personally, on my last home, we walked into $70,000 of instant equity because of the neighborhood we built in and how we built. The next pro is extra closing costs if you need them. Builders can be more flexible on how we write contracts to give you money for closing costs if you need. The next pro is everything is new. So your furnace, roof, and all your really expensive items won't need to be replaced 5 years after buying the house. You can actually put a little more money into your new construction home because you don't have to worry about those big replacements. And I truly love new construction, and I have actually only owned new construction homes personally. I think they have a lot of advantages that existing construction just does not give you. New construction is great, especially for first-time home buyers and retirees. There's so many advantages that are particular to those two groups. Also, don't forget to download your Moving to Eagle Area Guide. You can download it in the description box below. I go over all my favorite neighborhoods throughout the Eagle, Star, Meridian, and Boise area. Feel free to watch more videos on Eagle and Star, Idaho here, or whatever video pops up that the YouTube algorithm will think that you'll like next. I really hope to show you around some new construction neighborhoods sometime. Again, please comment or call with any questions on new construction or anything to do with Eagle, Star, Meridian, or Boise.